Top stories on the WINN TV News. Venezuela dismisses negative report on Petrocaribe. Plans for a stem cell research and a treatment facility may raise controversial ethical debate, and Chamber welcomes VAT removal from food. More on these reports after a word from our sponsor.
Mother's Day is the one day of the year that is specially dedicated to celebrating all of the wonderful things our moms had done for us over the years. And it's our annual reminder to express our love and appreciation by saying thank you. Give her either the Jimmy Choo for women, or Dolce by Dolce & Gabbana, or even Beige Volet, or Le Panther from Cartier, and Kenzo flower tag for ladies. Only at Ashbury's for great service. Ashbury's is located at Liverpool Road, Bastille, and also at the Marriott in Frigate Bay. Call 465-8175 or 466-1626. Ashbury's.
I'm Andre Huey, and this is the WINN TV News. Venezuela is rubbishing a Miami Herald report that suggests the country has drastically reduced its shipment of oil to Petrocaribe member nations, which include those in the Caribbean. Ken Richards has more.
The publication, quoting a Barclays Bank report, says Venezuela has cut in half its subsidized shipments of crude oil to Cuba and Petrocaribe member nations to 200,000 barrels per day, down from 400,000 shipped in 2012. The Barclays Bank report says the oil agreements have been a heavy burden for Venezuela. According to the Miami Herald report, which adds that in the last decade the agreements have cost Venezuela up to $50 billion. However, Venezuelan Foreign Affairs Minister Delcy Rodriguez, who visited the Federation Monday, told WINN FM that attempts are being made to discredit Petrocaribe. How strong is Petrocaribe at the moment?
It's very strong. I think the people, you should ask that to the street people, not to us.
Well, there's a report from the Miami Herald quoting Barclays Bank suggesting Petrocaribe only provided half.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Even we are improving Petrocaribe. And the problem is that there is a war against Petrocaribe because Petrocaribe brings solution to the poor people. So maybe you should show the Miami Herald about it. No, that's not true.
So
I can tell you. That's not true. That's not true. No, at all.
According to the Miami Herald, the cuts deepened after August 2014 when crude oil prices began to drop. It quotes Barclays Bank as saying that Cuba has received about 55,000 barrels per day since September, nearly half of what it received in 2012. The report also states that shipments to the Dominican Republic and Jamaica, which account for about half of the program, have dropped 56% and 74% compared to 2012. Petrocaribe was also one of the subjects discussed when Foreign Affairs Minister Rodriguez held talks with Prime Minister Timothy Harris Monday.
Plans to establish a stem cell research and a treatment facility in St. Kitts may raise the controversial ethical debate on the subject of stem cell research. According to medicalnewstoday.com, stem cells come from two main sources: embryos formed during the early development phase of the embryological development, also known as embryonic stem cells, and adult tissues, also known as adult stem cells. The controversy is the consideration of the ethics of research involving the development, usage, and destruction of human embryos. On Saturday, entrepreneur Peter Nygaard from Nygaard International, at a press conference in St. Kitts with scientists and stem cell researchers, announced plans to establish a health and wellness spa, which he argued can create several opportunities for the island. The plan is to attract wealthy persons to the treatment center in St. Kitts, willing to invest in stem cell research and treatment aimed at helping to reverse aging. The construction of the Health and Wellness Center and Spa is earmarked for Christoph Harbour. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Patrick Martin was asked by the media recently about the controversy surrounding stem cell research and whether St. Kitts had considered these considerations.
Nobody is going to make the kind of investments they are making right now without having that locked down. Both the ethics and linked to that is the legal instruments. Okay. Science is going to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that this therapy is ethical. As a matter of fact, we already do stem cells, When we give somebody chemotherapy to fight a cancer, it knocks out their bone marrow. and we have to give stem cells back. So it's not anything new.
Dr. Martin said the Wellness Center would have to be marketed properly to avoid any fallout from the stem cell research controversy.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
WINN FM's mission is to contribute meaningfully to the information, awareness, and the development of our nation and the region through the building of educated and informed communities. WINN FM faces the issues squarely, without shying away from controversy, while striving continuously to provide balanced, responsible reporting.
Better music, better talk, better radio. 98.9 WINN FM.
Mother's Day is the one day of the year that is specially dedicated to celebrating all of the wonderful things our moms had done for us over the years. And it's our annual reminder to express our love and appreciation by saying thank you. Give her either the Jimmy Choo for women, or Dolce by Dolce & Gabbana, or even Beige Volet, or Le Panther from Cartier, and Kenzo Flower Tag for ladies. Only at Ashbury's for great service. Ashbury's is located at Liverpool Road, Bastille, and also at the Marriott in Frigate Bay. Call 465-8175 or 466-1626. Ashbury's.
Welcome back. The St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce is welcoming the removal of VAT from food, medicines, and funeral expenses effective April 7th.
Mr. Calvin Cable is the Executive Director of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the umbrella organization for the country's private sector.
Generally, the members of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce are indeed very much pleased with the removal of VAT on the food, medical expenses, and the funeral expenses. There is a perceived buzz in the community, very similarly to when personal income tax was removed at the change of government in 1980. And it is anticipated that the removal of VAT on these sectors of personal purchases would indeed translate into greater activity in the community. Many individuals and families would transfer those purchases into other necessities which the families need. The Chamber always feels that overtaxation tends to cause a tightening in the economy, as most individuals almost see it as punishment. Whenever there is tax relief, there is a new buzz, there's a new release of tension in the community. And we believe that this would show itself in an increase in economic growth in the whole community in the next few years.
And finally, on the WINN TV News, a leading Grenadian businessman says while the implementation of the CARICOM single market and economy regimes may be slow, the intention behind these measures is noble.
Former Chamber of Industry and Commerce President Nigel John says the area of trade is one key example.
In other words, you get practice sending from Grenada to St. Kitts first, all right, before you send from Grenada to Canada, for instance. It also would permit for a gradual increase in capacities. Obviously, if you're only tooled to service a small, 40,000 person market or 100,000 person market, you don't overnight all of a sudden service a 300 million person market. So it allows for a stepwise growth in the provision of goods and services to be able to service.
John says the people of the region should be more involved in the CSME process and governments should encourage this.
I think one of the major differences between what would have been intended and what is pertaining is that the citizenry of the CARICOM space is now in reality left out of the process. Now, if you look at the original treaty, the first three objectives really speaks to the people, right, and opportunities for the people. It doesn't speak to administrative, the political directorate. It does not even speak to business. Okay? It really speaks to people. Now, in the decision-making process going forward, people are left out. Businesses are invited from time to time. The political directorate kind of lose a mandate. In other words, the decision-making is political decision-making. Partially, it could be our own fault as people of the Caribbean in that we have not been making the sort of demands, right, in general. You might have small groups or lobby groups and that kind of thing who will make little noise every now and then. But in general, there really has been no expectation of the political directorate.
As we end the WINN TV news, we recap the headlines. Venezuela dismisses negative report on Petrocaribe, and plans for a stem cell research and treatment facility may raise controversial ethical debate. I'm Andre Huey, and this has been the WINN TV news.
Mother's Day is the one day of the year that is specially dedicated to celebrating all of the wonderful things our moms had done for us over the years. And it's our annual reminder to express our love and appreciation by saying thank you. Give her either the Jimmy Choo for women, or Dolce by Dolce & Gabbana, or even Beige Volet, or Le Panther from Cartier, and Kenzo Flower Tag for ladies. Only at Ashbury's for great service. Ashbury's is located at Liverpool Road, Bastille, and also at the Marriott in Frigate Bay. Call 465-8175 or 466-1626. Ashbury's.